This video has not been sponsored by Paradox Interactive, but is made on my own initiative to promote my fellow creators that are active in the 2020 Stellaris ModJam. If you want to get access to these origins, make sure you use the links in the description below that take you to the workshop or the Paradox mod page, and you will be able to access them on December 19th. Time to take a look at the ancient Juggernaut, one that a lot of people have been asking for because they saw it floating around inside of the Origin selection screen. Well, it's time to take a look at it. Let's take a little gander at this here Origin. Ancient Juggernaut. There is a big warning sticker here saying that if you lose the Juggernaut, you will lose all of his bonuses, and there is quite a lot of them. You start with a unique alien Juggernaut ship with very, very simple armaments, and then on top of that, it is very much damaged, and you're going to need to repair it over time. And on top of that, it may create some additional things. You will get additional naval capacity, which is incredibly useful. However, you will lose starbase capacity, which is not all that great. But then again, you still have a flying starbase available to you. Or do you? Well, let's dive right in here. You can't be Xenophobe, you can't be Devouring Swarm. Let's do this. Let's take a look at Ancient Juggernaut. So as with any other empire, your start is relatively straightforward. Here you go, you got our capital world, it's right here, and as you can see, it's pretty darn standard. You've got all your standard pop growth, etc. However, in your solar system, there is a Juggernaut, Salas the Revered. In this particular case, it does look quite gorgeous, but as you can see, it only has 291 military power available to itself, as well as a special project. And effectively, what it does is you will need to improve the ship, specifically make it capable of actually moving, because if you take a look here at its systems, you will see that we're losing quite a lot of stuff here. It's got a ton of shields, it's got a ton of armor, but a lot of this stuff has been negated, and also it has a relatively low DPS due to the bonuses that it gets. As you can see, it has a reduction in FTL speed, a reduction in armor hit points, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So please be aware that once you start this Origin, no, you do not get a Juggernaut right off the get-go. That would be insanely overpowered. If you want to build any ships, of course, you can just go into the Juggernaut shipyard, because the local solar system only has a standard shipyard available, and, well, it currently sits on the actual Juggernaut. You actually start off with an anchorage as well as a trade hub. You can always build a shipyard if you want to, but hey, who doesn't want to use the ancient power of a Juggernaut to build something fresh? Of course, if we go into this here menu, sublight again, you'll need to spend 4,000 engineering research in order to get this up and running, and at the start of the game, that is going to take you quite some time. So at the start of the game, the Ancient Juggernaut is not all that useful, except every once in a while, it will squirt out a bunch of ships for you for free. Yes, it does have an automated shipyard that will generate ships that are in your current meta. So in this particular case, it will just generate a bunch of corvettes for you, which is great. However, once we've unlocked the first stage, yes, the first stage, there is quite a lot of stages to this, things start to get a little bit more interesting. Let's dive into the future where we unlock the power of the Juggernaut. Now, as you can see, we have moved along in time a little bit, and our Juggernaut is now operational. However, it sits only at 312 fleet power, aside from the fact that it is a giant shipyard array, which is really nice because it means you can take it with your fleets on operations, etc., to take care of any alien empires that are sitting around. However, this is not the end of the Juggernaut chain. You may have noticed that it is a little bit weak, and if we actually take a look at the Ancient Juggernaut, you will see that there are a bunch of new technologies that we need to unlock in order to get new things on it. The Ancient Juggernaut situation log item will stay available, and basically the more of these technologies you unlock, the more stuff you can do with the Juggernaut, and also it will get more and more powerful. So we need to get all the ship size technologies, all the armor technologies, shield technologies, thrusters, and hyperdrive tech, and slowly over time the Juggernaut will get stronger as we go through the tech tree. But there is more to this. Oh yes, there is more to this. Let's dive forward in time a little bit to a moment where I've unlocked the next stage of abilities on the Juggernaut. As you can see, the Juggernaut is now a little bit more powerful due to the amount of tech that we have acquired. As you can see, we've got some ship-sized technology to get destroyers. However, this means that we will get access to a brand new menu. Yes, there is UI attached to this particular mod. Let's dive in towards our Influence Edicts menu, and as you can see, there is a brand new button here called Ancient Juggernaut Interface. If we disable that and enable it once again, you will see that we will get onto this menu, the Ancient Juggernaut Overtuner. Basically what this does is if we select one of our ship types, let's say corvettes or destroyers, later on we can get cruisers as well as battleships as well. Basically what happens here is that this particular Juggernaut will start generating additional ships for us. But yeah, that's something that we want to keep in mind. However, if we overclock one of these items, if one becomes available, that is, basically our ship upkeep will increase by 850%. All base ship speed will go down by 50%, and on top of that we will get 12 destroyers every 6 months over a period of 36 months. However, it will most definitely cripple our economy, which is something I'm about to illustrate. So you can see we're looking at the top of the screen here, and as soon as the month ticks over, we're now at minus 460. That is a massive amount of dosh, which of course we do not have. So we want to make sure that we can generate as many ships as possible out of this, and this way we should be able just to get one flight of destroyers by using the resources that I just sold. We can probably do a little bit more just to make sure that we actually get them. Let's hope it works. We're currently on fastest, so we're just waiting for these destroyers to pop out. But basically what happens is once we have the capability of... we should probably get some alloys actually. Yeah, alloys are also heavily impacted. Once we get the capability of generating these destroyers, we can effectively cripple our economy by getting a bunch of ships up and running. As you can see, the overclock has now stopped because, well, we ran out of resources. So all these abilities are here on the Juggernaut interface, and this goes all the way up to battleships and cruisers as well. But as you may have noticed, there is a bunch of other cool stuff here. There's a whole bunch of buttons down here that we can use to overclock. Yes, there is special stuff ahead. Fleet boost, fleet boost, fleet boosts. Oh yes, the Juggernaut can give you access to some very special abilities. Let's move forward in time to where we've unlocked all of our technologies, including the Juggernaut technology, and see what these things actually do. So at this point we are about 77 years into the game, and we have managed to unlock all the technologies required. As you can see, if we go over to our situation log, the Juggernaut is now no longer on our menu, and we have a fully powered and up and running Juggernaut in location. Of course, we can also go ahead and upgrade that if we want to. But as you can see, it is quite powerful. It's got neutronium armor, dark matter deflectors, etc, etc, etc. So it's definitely not something you want to engage by yourself. Regardless though about those fleet boosts, let's take a quick look here at the Ancient Juggernaut interface and see what is here. As you can see, we got all of these little bonuses here that can be applied to all of our fleets. So, for instance, we can use the Aim Sister, which basically means that all of our fleets will get additional accuracy and tracking. The Weapon Superbness, which will make all of our ships generate 5% more weapon damage and increases hull damage by 15%. A Shield Recharge, which basically gives ships more health. Firing range is engagement range increase. Cross-system drive increases FTL jump and hyper jump charge time. Launcher boost basically improves all explosive weapons, so any sort of missiles. Pre-avoiding movement increases evasion as well as increases combat disengagement. And Sublight Afterburner gives sublight speed plus 20%. And finally, Void Space Jump will increase jump drive range and decrease its cooldown. So yeah, all of these can be applied to all of your fleets at once. So let's say that we want to enable the extended fire range. Well, there you go. We will have to run this in combination with one of our overclocks. But basically what will happen here is that we will get a crazy boost to our fleet, as well as being able to churn out an epic amount of fleets very, very quickly. Now, of course, this only applies to this one ship. If you lose this Juggernaut, you will lose all of these abilities, so please be aware that that is the case. Overall, though, why do I like this particular origin as much as I do? Well, it really starts out strong. You get yourself a ship, there's a lot of mystery there, then it leads into the mid game, and it's completely viable to use all the way up to the late game. It is a guiding line throughout your entire game, and it's something that I really, really like. It has impact in all stages of the game. You start out with a garbage little Juggernaut that is completely broken, and at the end of the game, you'll have yourself a powerhouse that you can deploy on the front line whenever you want. And of course, you get all those bonuses out of it as well. So it's really a goal for you to work towards, which is something that I really, really like. It's kind of like a mega structure in that regard, is that slowly over time, you're going to need to increase your ability to get it up and running, and the Juggernaut here is a perfect example of this. I really, really like this origin. It's probably, so far, I've only done 2 other ones, but so far this is probably my favorite one of the bunch. But yeah, the Paradox Stellaris 2020 ModJam is up and running. If you want to go and get involved and subscribe to the mod pack so you can play the mod itself, there's a bunch of links available down in the description below. And if you want to watch any other videos about the ModJam, there's a couple of images on your screen available now. Still though, I want to thank everybody for watching, and thank you to my patrons for making this video possible. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, eat Shutter.